Hello and welcome to the show. This week's FailRace Vs The Community, we would go racing with B-Class German cars. First race at the Nürburgring GP circuit at a turn 1 here that is a notoriously difficult corner, a long straight followed by a nasty hairpin, although this time out most of us made it through relatively well. I got bounced around a little bit further back, but no damage done to my cars. This M3 trying to get to the inside of a 911. If you can get to the inside here, you'll often find yourself on the outside for the next turn. Not necessarily a bad thing if you can keep up the momentum. Unfortunately for the BMW, just too many cars for that to work. The little 550 would find his way up into third place. The yellow 911 is having a look up the inside. Can't get the move done. Up ahead, the Porsches change position as the 550 goes around the outside up into second. And that white 911 struggling a little bit with carrying the corner speed as the BMW would spot the opportunity straight up the inside as well as we run down towards the hairpin here for the first time, and the BMW clear of the Porsche and found himself up into third place. Now for me, as I said, started down the order, got a little bounce around in turn 1, but quickly got going again. I was running my 300 SLR. In fact, this is a rebuilt one because my previous very quick one got lost somewhere. This one, even faster, as I dive up the inside of about 4 cars in a braking zone, a bit of lag fires an Audi off. I would not quite get the car stopped and turned fully for that, lose one of the positions back to the Golf. The BMW M1 trying his best to come back, but not quite able to match this Mercedes in terms of speed as I would go chasing after the Volkswagen. A good under brakes in this car. The Volkswagen tries to brake as late as he dare, but just can't quite pull the car up in time. Bounces across the curb, is slow on the inside. I will sweep past him. Lost a little bit of time to the M1 in getting all of that done, but I'm still clear as we come into this final corner. The BMW would clear the Golf, as would, I think it's on the Mercedes, was coming to join in as well. Further up, there would be a fairly large battle between these two, a 944 and a 911, fighting for around 5th place at this stage in the race. 911 tries to get to the inside at that first corner, does get the move done behind them. A Golf goes up the inside of an Audi, somehow managing to bully an Audi. Not quite sure how that one works, but just about got it done, although struggling through these next quarters. Still, the 944 is trying to make the move on the Porsche. Is what I said, if you do get stuck out wide, if you can carry the momentum out wide, even with the 911 shuffling them all the way out to the outside of the road there, the 944 still gets a good run down this back straight. It's to the inside for these next fast corners. They're actually quite difficult to overtake through here because there is so little in the way of braking zone, but the 944 would take up the position. All the meanwhile, they were being caught very, very quickly by my Mercedes, and it wouldn't take me long to dispatch them and then go chasing after the next car up in the queue. The white 911 just couldn't carry the corner speed. Again, as we round this next turn, car on the inside takes a too tighter a line, just can't maintain the corner speed. Fairly simple cut back to the inside for me on the exit, and I would move my way up into what was now 5th position and go chasing after the leaders. Further back, this Mercedes bonkersly fast car in a straight line, but of course the trade-off in, let's say B-Class, you might have tremendous straight line speed, but you're going to have to have sacrificed in terms of handling parts, and while it would soar up the inside of the 911, it was really struggling to get the car stopped, couldn't get it turned. The Audi was going to fight back on the inside as well. Mercedes out across the curb again. Once more, monstrous acceleration up towards the S's, but nowhere to really use it here. This is a corner that can go very, very wrong, as it does up ahead for the 944, I think. Clips the grass on the inside. That makes you very slow off the top of the turn. 911 would come past. Mercedes is to the outside, but hasn't got the grip to make that move stick. 944 gets that position back. Now the Mercedes is under increasing pressure from that Audi, although now we're again on to a long straight. The 280 going to go soaring after the two Porsches up ahead. It's, yeah, interesting track when it comes to building car. There are some long straights, but then there are plenty of these technical sections. Mercedes now to the outside of the 944, but isn't going to make that one work at all. It's very slow through the middle of the chicane. Unfortunately for the poor Audi, catches at just the wrong point, has nothing that it can really do. At the front of the race, and things were hotting up, it was two BMWs leading a Porsche 550 as the M3 dives for the inside. The M5 just not quite able to carry the same corner speed that the E30 could. Did out-accelerate it down towards the hairpin, but again, can't get the car stopped. Runs a little bit too wide. That opens the door very much for the M3 to get the pass done. Now the 550 Spider is also there having a look, trying to find a way past, although the M5 will out-accelerate him up towards the S's. And again, if the M5 can stay close off the top of the course, might be able to have a go into this next corner, but just doesn't have the handling. It can't carry the corner speed of the new leader in the 550. Is now there having a look, trying to make the most of any opportunity to get past. He'll sweep around the outside of the next corner. Further back, there was still plenty going on as a BMW Z8 fighting with another one of the M3s. The Z8 trying to go the long way round. If you can hold it there, you'll be on the inside for the next turn, and indeed the Z8 makes a very good pass actually to move up a position there, make sure he gets his car across in front, and is now in position to defend down into the hairpin if he feels he needs to. The M3 thinks about having a go up the inside. There is space, but the Z8 just far enough ahead and carrying enough corner speed that the blue M3 can't do anything about that. At the front, though, it would be the black and orange M3 that would go on to take victory, pulling away in the closing stages of the race. The 550 Spider would get up into second place. They, had a pretty exciting race for a lot of it. Towards the end, did get a little bit more spread out up at the front. I was absolutely flying towards the end of this race. I set fastest lap by about a second in this Mercedes. It was a ridiculously fast car. And I only caught up to the back of this lead group right at the very end. I was fighting for fourth place with the yellow 911, the Porsche. Monstrously fast in a straight line, but really struggling through the corners. He goes very defensive into the chicane. Doesn't bother me. I'm going to outbrake him around the outside. I don't even get too compromised on the exit. Still able to take the line that I want to, but the speed of the Porsche, acceleration of the Porsche, we come into this final turn. I knew I had to get things right, and unfortunately for me, I didn't. Slightly brushed the wall on the inside, trying to get as good of a run as I could out of the hairpin. I'm not sure it would have mattered anyway. The Porsche was so incredibly fast accelerating. I think he might have got me before the line anyway. Yeah, the 300 SLR had been very quick. Just too much work to do in the closing stages of the race for me. Second race, we would head to Laguna Seca. Much better starting spot for me as I move my way up into third before we reached the first of the braking zones, and I could sweep around the outside of a Quattro, no problem. BMW Z4 would slither through to third and then run a bit wide, dropping a position. The leader would end up out in the sand, not where you want to be, promoting my car up to first, although the Gullwing would get back on and hold on to the second place. The BMW behind was still fighting with, I think it was a Quattro at this stage, while I was busy running away and making a nice little bit of a margin on this opening lap. As you would expect, further back there was plenty of action going on. This Opel Kadett keen to try and make a move on a BMW M3 as we run up towards the final corner. An M6 had to take avoiding action as to not to end up in the car ahead of him out on the grass. The Kadett managed to get to the outside of the M3. A 550 Spider is to the inside along the wall, trying to make up positions there. The Opel a little bit unsettled as we go across the curves, jumps on the brake to the inside, trying to get past the Volkswagen as well. The 550's caught in all the wrong places, cuts back to the inside of the Volkswagen. There's a white M3 there. They're three wide on the exit of turn 2 as we now come up towards the next corner. The Porsche fast enough, accelerating, able to clear the Volkswagen, while the M3 would now have the joys of fighting with the VW. At the front, things were a little bit more spread out, and perhaps the most surprising vehicle of all that was making its progress through the field, the Porsche Cayenne. You would not expect this to be competing with the likes of a BMW Z4, however, it was absolutely flying around this track. The BMW just about able to defend up towards the top of the hill, but again the Porsche was coming and would out-accelerate the BMW by the time they got to the corkscrew, and the Z4 was just not able to fight back through the turns. It couldn't carry enough quarter speed to really do very much about the Porsche. Not quite something I expected to say, that the Cayenne was really quite quick through the corners, but it was doing a mighty fine job. That put the giant SUV up into 4th place. You can see 2nd and 3rd up ahead. Yeah, it was doing remarkably well, and the Z4 would come under increasing pressure from the vehicles behind this Audi, keen to try and find a way past. But that is often easier said than done. The Z4 driving very defensively at this stage was unable to keep up with the Porsche SUV. You see it vanishing off into the distance. Certainly not helped once you start fighting like this. The Audi managed to get to the inside, but when you are too wide through there, you're on that inside line, you will often take a very tight line, quite slow off of the corner. The Audi not quite able to make the most of it, and again, a lot of these corners don't have the largest of braking zones. There's a lot of sort of half chances for the Audi. Does get a good run up towards this next corner. The BMW's not giving up, and as they go side by side, the Porsche gets the best run of the lot of them, making the most of not being in a battle at that instant. The Porsche can get 2 cars in one go up towards the corkscrew. Still the Audi unable to find a way past. They bump a little bit on the way into the corkscrew, again on the way out. Now the Opel has come to join in. The Opel's to the outside. That's a long way to go around the outside, and indeed the Opel's on the dirt, but does get the place on the BMW, tries to get the place on the Audi as well. This time it's the Audi's turn to kick up some of the sand on the outside. Now the BMW gets the advantage of not having to be side by side with somebody through the final corner. The Z4 is up alongside the Kadett, although it doesn't quite have the acceleration of the Opel. The Audi would get the move done, but you can see the time that exchanged cost them, as the Porsche long since buggered off up the road. The Cayenne continued to make progress as we now get a close-up of the back of a 944. The Porsche having to defend extensively from that SUV. Not quite able to go around the outside there, but gets a great run up towards this next corner. This time the Cayenne far enough alongside, doesn't back out of going for the pass. The 944, you can't really squeeze an SUV at that part of the track. In the end is rather forced to give the Cayenne some space. That puts the SUV up into 3rd place. Yeah, it was seriously fast around this track, and the 944 just didn't have an answer for it. At the front though, it was relatively plain sailing for my Mercedes. Having got to the lead within the first couple of corners, I would vanish away at the front. Made a little mistake. The gap back to second, not quite as large as it had been at some earlier stages, but yeah, the 300 SLR was seriously fast. My driver car decides to go for a little bit of an explore. It would be the Gullwing that would claim 2nd place, with the Cayenne amazingly making it on to the podium. Further back, certainly the most exciting of races was going on between these two. The Audi would make a mistake that dropped him back behind the BMW. As we came onto this final lap, was again trying to find a way past. The Z4 though defending for his life as we run up towards the final corner. BMW very, very defensive on the inside, but it means the Audi has to try and go that long way around the final turn, and is just not quite able to get the move done. The BMW would out-accelerate the Audi across the line. The Kadett falling back a little bit in the closing stages. It might not have been quite the most exciting of races overall at Laguna. It was a little bit more spread out than at Nürburgring, but still, as ever, plenty going on. Our final race, and we would head to the Sonoma short circuit. One of my favourite tracks in this game. The BMW that we are following with gets a great start, coming from about 6th on the grid, moving up into second place, squeezing up the inside of the M3. There being all BMW 1, 2, 3 at this point in the race. The Z8 would be leading the way. Further back, I once again get shuffled a bit wide. You might have just about caught my Mercedes going for a big explore. The Z8 gets a big sideways moment as an Audi falls off the edge of the curb. A lot of cars run wide. It's a very easy corner to run wide, and Mercedes Gullwing moves up into third place behind, and already the leaders keen to make a breakaway from the rest of the field. And we would see this race particularly would get spread out very, very quickly. B class, a little bit faster class of car, but yeah, even that being said, this spread out much, much quicker than we would normally see from a B class event. This BMW 2002 Turbo keen to try and get a pass done on the Mercedes, although the 190E very, very fast through the corners. Through these S's is ridiculously difficult to make passes stick, so well done to the Mercedes for being able to get back past that BMW as we now run up towards the hairpin. Probably the best overtaking spot on the track, or easiest overtaking spot to get passes complete on the track. The big braking zone into the hairpin. Mercedes trying desperately to fight back against that 2002 Turbo, and it can through the corners, but the acceleration of the BMW was yeah, really quite impressive, and not much the Mercedes could do in the end. At the front, the Gullwing would move up into second place and start its chase for the leader as we come through these next corners. The Mercedes just able to take that bit more speed. The BMW getting a big twitch as he tries to put some power down. The BMW just leaves a gap up the inside. The Mercedes is always going to be keen to exploit that one as we run side by side into the next turn. The Gullwing able to get the pass done. Nothing the Z8 can really do at that turn. Tries to perhaps look for a cutback, but is unable to get it as we now run through these next very, very fast corners. The BMW just not quite quick enough. Even with the Gullwing sticking a wheel on the grass, he would get away with that. The Mercedes 190E was certainly having plenty of battles, plenty of action going on as he had now yet another BMW trying to find a way past. This time it was another M3, the M3 getting to the inside on the run towards the first quarter, again powering past that 190E in a straight line. But Mercedes was not quite done yet, as we'd seen it do with the 2002 Turbo. Carried so much more speed through the first couple of corners, can draw alongside but gets stuck out wide. Don't quite want to be on that wide line as we come up the hill. The M3 would get the pass done, but the 190 was certainly fighting back plenty. Cayenne was again going strong at this circuit, being chased down by another one of the Gullwings, and the Gullwing was trying his very best to find a way past, but just not quite able to. These Gullwings are very, very quick cars in B class, but could not find a way past the big Porsche. Yes, the Mercedes a little bit faster through the corners, but it wasn't so much faster that it could breeze past the Cayenne. And then when we did come to a straight, to an acceleration zone, the Porsche was able to pull away. Again, the Gullwing gets a good run out of the hairpin, draws alongside the Porsche, but then is too far away by the time we get to turn 1 to really be able to do anything about the SUV, or turn 2 and turn 3 as we run up here as well. It's just too far back. It'll close up massively through here, but again, you're not going to get an opportunity at that part of the lap, and the Cayenne would be able to pull away. Unfortunately, the Cayenne and the 2002 Turbo had a little bit of a bump. Not much was going on in this race outside of this group of cars, I'll be honest. I had a look around, tried to find interesting stuff, and not much was happening. There's a lot of cars running around on their own. The M3 had worked its way up towards the front of the field, now is putting pressure on the Gullwing, trying to find a way past into the hairpin, not quite able to do it. The 2002 Turbo was fighting with the Cayenne. The back marker does a good job of getting out of the way of everyone. 2002 would briefly get that position. The M3 here very much looking for a way past around the outside of turn 1. Can't quite hold it. That's a really, really long way to go around the outside there. Worth a shot. Couldn't quite make it stick at that stage. The Gullwing able to hold on to his third position. Again, the BMW is having a sniff up the inside, but there's never really going to be a gap there for very long. The Gullwing gets a much better run across the top of the hill, and the M3 now that little bit too far back to try anything in towards the next corner. Again, that corner is another good overtaking spot as well around this track. And these two would continue to fight right up until the very final lap as we crest the top of the hill. Both cars dropping wheels over the edge of the curve. The M3 much more in the dirt, but the Gullwing runs wide. Clobbers the inside curb, runs wide out of the next turn. That gives the M3 the opportunity he's been looking for to get a pass done. Is to the inside. The Gullwing has got nowhere to really go at that corner. The M3 would get the position moving up into that third place. Unfortunately, the Cayenne would fall foul of the curb and drop off the back of this group a little bit. Up at the front, though, and it would be another one of the Gullwings that would go on to take victory, a fairly large margin of victory. 2 lapped cars behind, had to pit for damage. The Z8 would be in second place. You saw it just about coming around the hairpin. Was quite a fair way back in this one. As I said, not the most exciting of the races. Unfortunately for me, I got damaged in a shunt. I had to pit and dropped well down the order with my Mercedes. And yeah, just in general, a lot more spread out that particular race. My 300 SLR was a stupendously good car. I got fastest lap in all 3 races in this. I highly recommend it. A seriously fast B-class car, and that particular build of it, I think it's slightly different to my last one, is even faster. It could do some incredible overtakes. On the whole, first race, Nürburgring was very, very good fun. Laguna was a little bit more spread out, and Sonoma just so happened to be a slightly duller race, but that's sometimes how it goes with motorsports. However, that is going to be it for this week's Versus the Community. The next one, we're going to go on to a Saturday for this one. There is a good reason for that, because we're going to be heading on to Forza Horizon 3. We're going to be racing on Saturday the 24th of September. That does mean you will have to have the Ultimate Edition to be able to sign up for this, because the early access that comes with the Ultimate Edition starts on the 23rd. We're going to go racing with Open A-Class on that. If you want to sign up and take part, then you can via our forums. There will be a link in the description. Find the FailRace Versus the Community section, and you can sign up in there. But that's going to be it from me. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.